How the hell in the name of Odin do you use chariots? A question I'm commonly asked. So in this video I'll divulge to you what I believe to be the secret to effective chariot use. Let us begin. Let's start by having a quick look at chariot stats. So generally they have a low to okay melee defense and a gargantuan charge bonus. So you may think, oh, they just sound like a shock cavalry, I'll just use them like a shock cavalry. Well, you kinda can, but it's not ideal for chariots, although we will kinda be using them in this way. So the key is to take advantage of that massive charge bonus whilst avoiding damage. Best way to do that? Keep your chariots moving. Charge them into a unit and keep them going if possible until they come out the other side. Allow me to demonstrate the power of this tactic. So I've got 3 chariots here, 2 of them I'm going to charge in and just leave them there. Okay, not going to pull them back out, not going to cycle charge them, just going to charge them in and let them do their thing. And the other one, I'm going to try to keep it moving at all times. So you kind of have to look for specific opportunities where you can get a nice charge in and be able to get away. Like this charge here where the unit is kind of broken up and kind of spaced out, so it's quite easy for me to charge into them and pull myself away. You see I've got 14 kills there and have basically taken no damage. Now let's charge in more of a shock cavalry style. So if we come in at this unit, we've come in at kind of a perpendicular angle, so we have to do a 180 turn to get back out, which is kind of awkward and kind of difficult. So that's why this kind of shock cavalry in and out way isn't really ideal, because chariots are quite immobile, shall we say. It's not easy for them to turn around. And you can see I've taken a little bit of damage from that last charge. So looking for opportunities where you can charge through units and keep going afterwards is the key here. So you could look for units that are on the edge of a front line, you could look for units that are spread really wide and really thin, you could look for units that are out in the open and running, or even stood still. Things like skirmishers, of course, very susceptible to this. But that's the gist of it, it's really that simple, just try to keep moving. It is very similar to using a shock cavalry, but you just have to keep moving at the end if you can. And in this demonstration, the 2 chariots that just stayed in combat and didn't move, they got about 80 kills each before they routed, which isn't terrible by any means. These are strong chariots though, the Razorgore chariots. But the chariot that I kept moving got a hell of a lot of kills, 250 plus, without losing even half its health. Because I kept it moving, because I kept it away from damage. But of course, this is a controlled situation, so these kill numbers aren't really realistic compared to a real battle. A chariot on a good day, 100 to 150 kills would be a great performance for a chariot, I think. So, keep an eye out for thinly spread units that you can charge through. Keep an eye out for enemy units that are engaged with your infantry that you can charge into the back of, and then keep going to pull through your unit because they won't really slow you down. If the enemy formation is quite deep, you can try coming in at an angle, so it allows for an easy getaway. Routing infantry are of course a great target for chariots, as they'll be able to run them down with relative ease. Try to avoid cavalry, skirmishers and of course anti-large, as they are typically the downfall of chariots. And while it's worth noting that there are armor piercing and non-armor piercing chariots, they both of course do better against their respective types. However, armor piercing chariots are generally pretty strong, like the Gore-Beast chariot here and the Razorgore herd, very strong chariots that will do well against pretty much any armor type. And there are certain chariots that are just not meant for combat, like the Vampire's Corpse Carts. Their deal is that they give a buff to nearby ally units. This one gives +8 melee attack and melee defense to nearby friendly units. That's all it's meant to do, sit nearby your units, not meant to fight with them. I mean, it can if you want it to, its stats aren't terrible, but it's going to serve a better purpose just being alive. Then you have the Mortis engine, which is kind of a similar thing, except it has a bit more weapon strength, but pretty bad melee defense. So if you are going to throw it into battle, try to mix it in with some of your troops to help it out. And saving it for the late game might be a better idea when enemy troops are kind of wavering. The terror that it causes can really help you out. So keep it nearby for the early game and send it in the late game, I'd say. And then there's the Goblin Wolf chariot, which is a ranged chariot, the only one of its kind. In all honesty, it's just not very good. It has high missile damage and is very fast, but is used basically the same as a regular skirmisher cavalry. And in most cases, Goblin Wolf archers will outperform this unit, so they're kind of obsolete. So there you go, my friends. My ideas on effective chariot use. Simply keep it moving. And while this is a tactic that can require quite a lot of micromanagement, it's okay to not be moving if you're not in any danger of being attacked. Of course you can just leave your chariot out in the open field as long as there's no cavalry nearby. But when you're near enemy troops, you should try to keep moving to get away from them. Do your damage and then get back out. Thanks for watching. I will see you not in the past, not in the present. I will see you in the future.